If you want to grow your company brand and your business on LinkedIn, using your page invitation credits is a powerful and simple way to do so. Hey, this is Brenda Meller. Keep watching. I'm going to show you how to use your page invitation credits, and I'm going to actually demonstrate how I use mine to get started. It's the beginning of the month, and this is a really great time to do a quick refresher on this feature, and I've actually got all my page invitation credits, so I'm going to walk you through this. So first thing you'll need to do is once you're logged into LinkedIn, you're going to go over to your company page. You do have to be an admin to use this feature on here, and what you're going to notice is if you're an admin, when you first land on the page, it looks like the back end of a page. It's a little bit clunky, not really pretty looking. If I click on View as Member, this is what the public will see when they're visiting your page. So this is a little bit more pretty up version of it. If you want to navigate back to the admin view in the top blue bar where it says you are viewing this page as a member, you'll have to click on View as Admin. But again, if you're first visiting the page, once you get there, this is what you're going to see inside here. Now, I want to help to teach your brain where to look, because one thing I know about LinkedIn is that LinkedIn is confusing. And if you're going to your company page and you're trying to figure out how do I invite people to follow the page, it may not be as intuitive. Sometimes you'll get under today's actions, invite followers. That might be up there, but often it's not up in there. So I want you to look in the left navigation. And as you scroll down, you should see invite to follow. Now you can get to this area from two different places in the left navigation. The easiest is invite to follow. The other is if you click on analytics, and then along the top, you'll see content, visitors, followers, etc. If you click on visitors, then you can see here, scroll down a little bit inside the page, you're going to see visitor demographics. At the bottom, you'll see grow your followers. So let me go back to the invite to follow. It's basically going to be the same feature, but if I click on invite to follow, I get the pop-up right away. Okay, so a few things you're going to notice inside here. You should have 250 credits available. If for any reason you don't, it might be because you're just getting started with your company page on LinkedIn. Sometimes I see them limiting this to 100 page followers to begin. So if that's the case, just keep working on that and eventually they'll lift that up to 250. Now, when you get in here, there's a couple different ways that you can invite people to connect. First is you can just search by name. So let's just say, for example, I had someone this morning emailing me. I'm just going to search for a Megan, okay? And let's say I want to find a specific person. If I know who it was, let's say it was Megan James. It wasn't, but just for example, let's say this is the person I want to invite to follow my page. All you'll need to do is click on the check mark to the right of their name. That will make the box, the hollow box, it will make it blue with a green check mark, a little white check mark in the green box. And then you click on invite. Now at this point, you're going to get this message from LinkedIn saying, one connection is invited to follow your page. Next, increase invite acceptance rates by posting. Now this message is independent of whether or not I've already posted on LinkedIn today. And I've already posted on LinkedIn today, so I don't want to do another one right away. So I'm just going to click on no thanks. You can also just click on the X to close out of that box, okay? Now that was the first way of inviting to follow. The second way, if you don't want to search by name, is you can just scroll through the list. Now, the good thing here is you're only going to see people who are first level connections of you. If there's multiple page admins, the view will change based on who they're connected with. Now, let's say, for example, that we are both connected with, I'm just going to find a name, Sharon White. Let's say myself and one of my other page admins. If I've invited Sharon, then the other person wouldn't see that person in their list, or then it might already say invited next to her name. So that's a good thing. We're not going to receive multiple invitations from a page. We're only going to receive one. So if we've received one, we're not going to show as available. It would show either like pending or it would show invited next to her name. Okay. Now, as you scroll down through the list here, you can certainly check multiple people as you go down through the list. What I try to focus on are individuals whose keywords in their headline matches up with my ideal target audience. Some of these I'm going to skip past. Sometimes when I see things like a gray avatar instead of a photo, or if it says retired in there, I know that they're not really using LinkedIn heavily. I might skip on past them. You get 250 page invitation credits. So I'm not overly selective on who I am choosing on here. I try to choose people that have a higher likelihood of accepting, and typically those are individuals who match my target audience criteria. But I don't want you to spend a ton of time like thinking about each person. See, as I'm going through here, I'm just kind of looking for a couple keywords. If I'm seeing anything that I think might be even a slight match for me, I'm just going to click on that green checkbox. by doing this activity, you're actually training your brain to think more quickly and to not overthink these invitations to connect on here. So just scroll down. Now you do get 250 page invitation credits, and that can seem like a lot. Now you can certainly try to invite all of them in one fell swoop. I am starting to hear of individuals who are starting to be restricted on how many invitations they can send out. So you might just want to do this in smaller batches. Now, what I like to do with 250 page invitation credits is every time I visit my company page, I invite 10 people to connect. Now today I'm doing a little more because I'm doing this video, but you can see here in just a matter of just a few minutes, I've already invited about 20 people to follow my page. Right now I click on invite and it says 16 connections are invited. That plus the other one, that will be 17 total connections I've already invited to follow my page. And actually, let's see, the number's a little bit off on here. You're noticing it says 235 out of 250. Sometimes the numbers might be a bit off on here, but do keep in mind that if you send 10 invitations to connect every time you visit your page, and let's say you visit your page even just 10 times a month, that's 100 invitations that you've issued for people to follow your page. If you do this 25 times a month, you get to the 250. Sometimes what I say is aim for 10, and then you get to 25 and it's that much easier. Then you only have to do it 10 times a month, right? So the way that this works as well is this is a credit system. So that means if I invite John Ferguson to follow my company page and John accepts that, then I get the credit back. And I can use this feature to invite more of those individuals. So for that reason, I try to focus on individuals that I think are active on LinkedIn. Maybe we've had a recent interaction. Maybe they've invited me to follow their page and I'm going to invite them back. Or maybe they match my target audience criteria with something in their headline. And those are the individuals I'm going to focus on inviting to my page. Let's look at Stephanie Valentine. If I know that she's not super active on LinkedIn, if I send her an invite, it's going to sit in her inbox because she's not active on LinkedIn. I'm not going to waste the invite on those individuals. I want to focus on people who are active on LinkedIn. Now, before I show you one last feature of how to invite, I want to show you what these page invitations look like from the recipient's perspective. I'm going to click on My Network at the top, and then I'm going to click on Show All. Now, once you do so, if you're using the desktop version of this, by the way, it's the easiest way of doing it. Once you do so, you click on My Network, Show All. You're going to see Manage Invitations, and they're categorized. And our brains are all very similar. Our brains like to think logically, and it's easier for us if things are in an organized fashion. So rather than grouping them all together, I like to look at these categorically, and I'm going to click on Pages, because now I can just focus linearly on people who've invited me to follow their pages. Now, in this case, I have 4 individuals who've invited me to follow their page. So this is what it looks like from your recipient's end. In my case, it would say Brenda Meller invited you to follow Meller Marketing. So do be aware that there's not a lot of information in here. We can see that the page industry is reflected at the top. So this one's IT, the next one's real estate, the third one's nonprofit, and the final one is technology, information, the internet. But it doesn't give us a lot of information. Now, we as human beings, we're not much different. If we are familiar with the company and interested in the company, we'll probably click on accept. Or if we're familiar with you as an individual, we're likely to click on accept because it's a nice thing to do. So Rick Catron, I met him at an event several years back. Really great guy. We've networked and interacted online. We've seen each other in person a few times. I'm likely to accept his page for Grit Technologies, even if I don't have any plans on doing business with his company. But it shows my support of him and his company. Now let's look at Michael Ferlito. I don't really know him that well, and I see that it's a real estate page. I might not accept that one because that might not be a good fit for me. So I want you to think about from your audience's perspective, they're more likely to accept your invitation if they're familiar with your company name or if they're familiar and comfortable with you. Okay, so try to use that to your advantage. Now I'm going to go back to my company page, and as I wrap up this video, and this is going to go on my podcast as well, I want to show you one final technique that you can use to invite connections to follow your company page. So I'm going back to my company page right now, and then in the left navigation, once this loads, my computer's going a little slow here on Monday morning, I'm going to scroll down to the invite to follow. You may have noticed that there's a couple of filters that are inside here. There's only 4. Locations, current companies, school, And if you click on that little right caret, you can get to industry as well. You might want to try playing with these as well. So let's say locations. I'm going to target people just for this morning in the Chicago metro area. So let me type in Chicago. And once you type that in the word Chicago, you'll see a bunch of different options. I'm going to click on Greater Chicago Area, show results. So you can do a specific city, or you can layer that. So maybe we look at a specific city with an industry as well. Now I'm going to look at coaching because I do work with a lot of individuals who are coaches and consultants, and this can help to fine tune the results for people who are in Chicago, as well as people who've designated their industry as coaching or consulting. So now you can see here, this is a much more focused list. You're going to see some of these individuals, Conrad Close, for example, it already says following. So that means either he's visited my page and clicked on follow, or I've invited him and he's clicked on follow. But at any rate, I can't invite him again because he's already following my page. Now I can go through the list, and as you scroll through, you can just choose all of these individuals. You're going to see a lot of these, it says invited or it says following because I've already invited them or they're already following on their own. So this makes it really easy. I don't have to think too hard. Remember in the last example, I had to really kind of look at their name, figure out whether I thought they would invite. Like these are matching my target audience criteria and they're matching my target audience industry. So I don't have to think too hard about it. So I can really just scroll through this list a lot more quickly. Click on the check boxes. You're going to notice sometimes LinkedIn pauses for a second. It's hiccuping. It's thinking, is there anyone else in Brenda's network? You got to give it a second to load up a few more responses, and then we can just scroll down the list. Now, there's not a way from the desktop version that you can auto select everyone. You have to manually go through and do this, and I think they do this intentionally to slow us down and to make it a bit more challenging, so to speak, to get these individuals invited to connect. So let's click on invite 22 and let's send those off. So that's it. This was a demonstration today of how to use the page invitation feature to invite more of your first level connections to follow your company page on LinkedIn. I do hope that you found this tip helpful, and in summary, I want to remind you that you do get 250 page invitation credits each month. I highly recommend you use those throughout the month. Check and see if your credits are being accepted and invite more of your connections. I would also recommend that you put a calendar reminder on maybe the second or third day before the end of the month. Try to use up all those remaining credits. And then at the start of the month as well, the first few days of the month, you should also try to jumpstart the growth in there as well. And do try to keep this up going throughout the month. You'll start to get more momentum, more followers coming to your page, and hopefully some more business coming to you as well. Hey, if you found this video and podcast helpful, I'd love to hear feedback from you. If this is something you're watching on YouTube, please drop me a comment below. If you happen to be listening on the podcast and we're connected on LinkedIn, send me a direct message. Let me know if you found this tip helpful, and feel free to invite me to follow your company page as well. I'll be glad to accept that. This is Brenda Meller, helping you to get a bigger slice of the LinkedIn pie.